Have you ever wondered why your blood sugar levels keep fluctuating, even though you're trying to eat right and follow a diabetic diet? You're not alone. Millions of people with type 2 diabetes and prediabetes face the same frustrating problem. And most of them are missing one critical piece of the puzzle: minerals. Yes, not just medications, not just blood sugar charts or glucose testing. I'm talking about minerals that your body desperately needs to regulate your fasting blood sugar, improve insulin resistance, and stabilize your glucose throughout the day. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly which minerals can help you lower blood sugar naturally, reverse insulin resistance, and support long-term diabetes management. But stay with me until the end, because I'll also reveal how these minerals interact with your current diet, your medications, and even your diabetic symptoms. That's something most videos completely ignore. Let's dive in. First, let me explain something critical. When your body lacks certain minerals, your cells become less responsive to insulin. This is known as insulin resistance, and it's one of the leading causes of type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, and chronically high blood sugar levels. It's not just about eating too much sugar. It's about the way your cells handle insulin and glucose, and minerals play a direct role in that process. You see, minerals like magnesium, chromium, zinc, vanadium, and selenium are involved in hundreds of chemical reactions in your body. They influence everything from insulin production to carbohydrate metabolism to energy storage. When you're deficient in these minerals, it becomes nearly impossible to control your blood sugar, no matter how clean your diabetic meal plan is. Let me give you a quick example. Magnesium helps your muscles and nerves function, but it also directly affects blood sugar regulation. People with low magnesium levels often show signs of high blood sugar, even if they're not eating poorly. That's because magnesium is essential for insulin receptor sensitivity, meaning it helps your cells absorb glucose efficiently. In fact, studies have shown that people with type 2 diabetes almost always have magnesium deficiency. It's also common in people with prediabetes, or those who are just starting to experience diabetes symptoms like fatigue, constant thirst, or vision problems. And here's the problem: most multivitamins don't include enough bioavailable magnesium, so even if you're supplementing, it might not be helping. Now imagine that same story, but with chromium. Chromium improves your body's ability to use insulin. It enhances insulin sensitivity and helps reduce fasting blood sugar and post-meal glucose spikes. Some researchers even consider chromium to be one of the most underrated tools in diabetes management. It gets better. Zinc is another mineral that's absolutely essential for people with type 2 diabetes. Why? Because it helps your pancreas produce insulin, and it also has antioxidant properties that protect against diabetic complications like neuropathy and retinopathy. And if you're dealing with diabetic neuropathy, those burning sensations in your feet or hands, you should know that vanadium and selenium have been studied for their ability to support nerve health while also stabilizing blood sugar levels. But maybe you're wondering, can I just get these minerals through food? Well, here's the truth. Many people with type 2 diabetes follow a low glycemic index diet or use diabetic recipes to keep glucose spikes under control. But foods today are often grown in mineral-depleted soil. Even low glycemic index foods may not give you the levels you need, especially if you're already dealing with insulin resistance or hypoglycemia symptoms from fluctuating sugar levels. That's why targeted supplementation matters, not just random pills from the drugstore, but supplements that contain the right forms and dosages of these essential minerals. Now, I know you may be overwhelmed by all the information out there. There are endless lists of diabetic diets, diabetic meals, and blood sugar-friendly snacks, including debates over things like rice for diabetics or snacks for diabetics. And yes, even berberine gets mentioned all the time as a blood sugar miracle. But here's the thing. If your body is missing these core minerals, none of those solutions will work long-term. You'll keep chasing better blood sugar test results, but never actually feel in control. Think about this. Would you try to build a house without bricks? That's exactly what most people are doing when they try to reverse type 2 diabetes or manage prediabetes without looking at their mineral status. So what can you expect if you start taking these minerals consistently? You may notice that your fasting blood sugar normalizes, that your energy improves, and that your insulin sensitivity increases. Over time, this can mean lower doses of medications, fewer symptoms of high blood sugar, and better overall metabolic health. And the best part is, these minerals are generally safe when taken correctly. But I'll talk more about dosage, timing, and combinations in the next part of the video. So don't go anywhere. In the next section, I'll show you how to choose the right form of each mineral, how to avoid dangerous fillers, and the biggest mistakes people make when using mineral supplements for type 2 diabetes. That's coming up next. Now that you know which minerals are essential for blood sugar control and insulin resistance, let's talk about how to actually take them, because this is where most people make big mistakes. First, not all supplements are created equal. You might see magnesium oxide, for example, in cheap supplements, but that form is poorly absorbed. If you really want to improve fasting blood sugar and avoid hypoglycemia symptoms, you need highly bioavailable forms like magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate. Those are far more effective for people with type 2 diabetes. The same applies to chromium. You don't want chromium chloride. That's the cheap version. Look for chromium picolinate or GTF chromium, which have been shown to improve insulin sensitivity and help stabilize blood sugar levels, especially after meals. With zinc, the ideal form is usually zinc picolinate or zinc citrate. These are better absorbed and gentler on the stomach. But don't go overboard. Too much zinc can interfere with copper absorption and affect your immune function. Most people with diabetes mellitus or prediabetes benefit from 15 to 30 milligrams of zinc per day. Now let's talk about vanadium. This one's a bit controversial because it's powerful. Some studies suggest that vanadium can mimic insulin in the body, helping glucose enter cells more efficiently. But it has to be taken in very low doses, usually between 1 to 5 milligrams per day, and not for long periods unless supervised by a doctor. Selenium is another mineral that gets overlooked, but it has antioxidant properties that protect your cells against damage from high blood sugar spikes. People with diabetic retinopathy or diabetic neuropathy may benefit from selenium's protective effects on the eyes, nerves, and blood vessels. But how do you know which of these you actually need? That's where testing comes in. If you have access to a functional medicine doctor, you can request a micronutrient panel. But even without testing, there are signs of mineral deficiencies that people with type 2 diabetes should pay attention to. For example, if you're craving chocolate all the time, you may be low in magnesium. If your blood sugar chart shows constant highs after meals, chromium may be lacking. If your immune system feels weak or your wounds heal slowly, zinc could be the issue. You might be thinking, can I just fix this with food? Yes and no. A diabetic diet rich in low glycemic index foods can definitely help, especially if you're eating leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and seafood. But today's soil is often depleted of minerals, and cooking methods can destroy up to 70% of certain trace nutrients. That's why smart supplementation is often necessary, particularly for people dealing with prediabetes, insulin resistance, or ongoing symptoms of diabetes like fatigue, neuropathy, or vision problems. It's also important to know when to take these supplements. Taking minerals at the right time can significantly improve absorption and impact. Here's what works best. Magnesium. Take it before bed. It calms the nervous system and may improve fasting blood sugar the next morning. Chromium. Take with meals to blunt glucose spikes. Zinc. Take in the morning with food, but not with calcium, as it competes for absorption. Vanadium. Very low dose with your largest carbohydrate meal. Selenium. Once daily with food, preferably with fat for better absorption. And here's another important tip. Don't combine high doses of multiple minerals all at once, unless they are formulated together by design. Some minerals block each other's absorption if taken in the wrong ratios. You also want to avoid mineral supplements that include artificial colors, titanium dioxide, or magnesium stearate. These are common in low-quality products and may even interfere with gut health, which is already sensitive in many diabetics. Another key aspect is pairing these minerals with the right lifestyle changes. No supplement is going to work if your diabetic diet is high in processed carbs, sugary snacks, or if you're still unsure about basic food triggers like white rice for diabetics or high glycemic snacks for diabetics. So what should your day look like if you want to maximize results? Start with a low glycemic index breakfast, maybe eggs with spinach and avocado. Take your magnesium and zinc with that meal. At lunch, have a balanced plate with lean protein, vegetables, and quinoa or legumes, and take chromium with that. Dinner should be lighter, focused on non-starchy vegetables and protein, with magnesium again if you're not sleeping well. Selenium can be taken with any meal that includes healthy fats like olive oil or nuts. This mineral timing strategy can help flatten your blood sugar curve, improve your blood sugar test results, and reduce the daily roller coaster that many people with type 2 diabetes experience. One more thing. If you're already taking berberine or other glucose-lowering herbs, adding these minerals can actually enhance the effect, but you need to monitor your blood sugar closely. Some people notice that their fasting blood sugar drops significantly within days. Others see more gradual improvement over several weeks. The key is consistency. Just like you wouldn't expect a single diabetic meal to reverse your condition, you also shouldn't expect miracles from a single dose of minerals. But if you stick with the right forms, doses, and timing, these minerals can become one of your most powerful tools to manage and even reverse insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. And this is just the beginning. In the next section, I'll walk you through the biggest mistakes people make when choosing supplements, including why some diabetic formulas are a waste of money, and what to look for instead. Plus, I'll reveal how to avoid mineral imbalances that can make things worse, especially if you're already taking medication for type 2 diabetes or experiencing hypoglycemia episodes. Now let's talk about one of the biggest traps people with type 2 diabetes fall into: buying the wrong supplements. I know how tempting it is. You walk into a pharmacy or search online and see hundreds of bottles labeled blood sugar support or diabetes formula. They promise to lower your blood sugar levels, reverse your type 2 diabetes, or reduce your insulin resistance in days. But the truth is, most of them are a waste of money, and some can actually make your situation worse. Let's start with something most people don't realize. Just because a supplement says diabetic-friendly doesn't mean it has the right ingredients or the right form of ingredients. Many of these products include tiny, ineffective doses of minerals like chromium or magnesium, often combined with fillers, binders, or artificial additives that can irritate your gut or interact with your medications. For example, you might find a supplement that says it contains zinc, but when you read the label, it's only 5 mg of zinc oxide, a poorly absorbed form that barely makes a difference. You'd be much better off with 15 to 30 mg of zinc picolinate or zinc citrate, as we discussed earlier. The same goes for magnesium. If the label says magnesium oxide, skip it. Your body will absorb less than 5% of that. You want magnesium glycinate, citrate, or malate. These forms are proven to support blood sugar regulation, improve insulin sensitivity, and even help reduce diabetic symptoms like fatigue or muscle cramps. But here's something most people never consider. Some of these diabetic blends actually contain minerals that compete for absorption. For example, calcium and magnesium fight for the same receptors in your gut. So if you're taking them together in the wrong ratios, you may be blocking the benefits without even realizing it. And let's talk about timing again. If you take all your minerals in one pill at the wrong time of day, you might completely miss out on their benefits. For instance, taking chromium on an empty stomach doesn't do much. You want to take it with meals, especially those containing carbohydrates, to help reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes. And let's not forget about selenium. It's powerful in small doses, but toxic in large amounts. You should never exceed 200 mcg per day unless instructed by your doctor. Too much selenium can actually increase your risk of oxidative stress, the opposite of what you want when managing diabetes type 2. Here's another mistake I see all the time. people look for supplements that promise to replace medication. That's dangerous thinking. No mineral supplement should be viewed as a substitute for your doctor's treatment plan. However, when used correctly, minerals can enhance your current routine, support your type 2 diabetes diet, and help stabilize blood sugar levels naturally, often allowing your body to respond better to medication, or even reduce your dosage over time with medical supervision. And what about those trendy ingredients you hear about, like berberine or cinnamon extract? They can be helpful, but only if you're also giving your body the minerals it needs as a foundation. It's like trying to drive a car with a powerful engine but no fuel. You need the core minerals first, especially magnesium, zinc, chromium, selenium, and vanadium. Now let's take a moment to talk about blood sugar tests. A lot of people monitor their fasting blood sugar every morning, but forget to test after meals. If you've started taking a mineral supplement and only test your glucose first thing in the morning, you might miss the real improvement. The real benefit often comes from reduced post-meal blood sugar spikes, improved energy levels, fewer cravings, and better mood throughout the day. If you track your progress properly, you may start to notice that your symptoms of diabetes are easing. You feel more stable, less brain fog, fewer crashes after meals. That's the result of better glucose control, improved insulin response, and support at a cellular level, all thanks to essential minerals doing their job. But none of that happens if you keep falling for flashy labels, underdosed blends, or cheap ingredients. So next time you see a bottle promising to reverse diabetes, stop and ask, does it have the right forms of magnesium, chromium, zinc, vanadium, and selenium? Are the doses therapeutic? Does it avoid common fillers or allergens? If not, it's not worth your time or your money. And if you're already following a diabetic diet meal plan or eating low glycemic index foods, but still not seeing results, this may be the missing link. You might be doing everything right with your diabetic meals, avoiding processed carbs, even replacing bread or white rice for diabetics with whole grains. But without the proper mineral support, your cells might still be resisting insulin. So what should you do next? Keep watching. Because in the next section, I'll give you the exact checklist for building a mineral protocol that actually works, including how to adjust it for prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or even hypoglycemia. Plus, I'll show you how to combine minerals with other strategies like exercise, hydration, and meal timing to maximize your results. And finally, I'll walk you through real-life success stories of people who were struggling with unstable blood sugar levels and insulin resistance, and how simple mineral changes transformed their energy, glucose readings, and even reduced the need for medication. Now let's put everything together. By now, you understand how essential magnesium, chromium, zinc, vanadium, and selenium are for managing type 2 diabetes, improving insulin resistance, and keeping your blood sugar levels stable. But how do you actually apply this in your daily life, in a way that's simple, realistic, and sustainable? It starts with intention. Don't just take supplements randomly. Think of your minerals as part of a structured system, a foundation that supports everything else you're doing with your diabetic diet, your blood sugar monitoring, and your lifestyle choices. Let's say you wake up and check your fasting blood sugar, and it's still high. You've been eating low glycemic index meals, avoiding processed snacks, and following your diabetic meal plan, but it's just not enough. This is exactly where a mineral protocol makes the difference. You take your magnesium glycinate in the evening to improve insulin sensitivity overnight. You take chromium picolinate with your 2 main meals to reduce post-meal glucose spikes. You add zinc in the morning with breakfast and selenium with lunch, especially if your goal is to protect against diabetic complications like retinopathy or neuropathy. And if your blood sugar remains stubborn, a low dose of vanadium with your highest carb meal may help your body mimic insulin and shuttle glucose into the cells more efficiently. This multi-angle strategy doesn't just treat symptoms, it addresses the root cause, cellular insulin resistance. But this protocol works best when you combine it with other smart choices. For example, Drinking more water during the day, especially before meals, can help reduce post-meal spikes. Gentle walking after lunch or dinner can enhance glucose uptake by muscles. These are habits that cost nothing but deliver powerful results. And don't forget the timing of your meals. People with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes often experience blood sugar crashes or hypoglycemia symptoms late in the day if their meals are unbalanced. Try spacing your meals more evenly, with a focus on fiber, protein, and healthy fats. And always pair carbs with a source of protein. That's a game changer. Now maybe you've tried different diabetic recipes, followed all the advice, and still feel like something is off. Your energy is low, your sleep is poor, and you feel stuck. That's where checking your mineral levels, or simply following a structured protocol, could be the missing piece. One thing I always recommend is journaling your results. Track how you feel each day. Note your blood sugar test results, especially after meals. Write down what you ate, which minerals you took, and when. Over time, you'll start to see patterns, and those patterns will help you personalize your approach. Some people find that adding berberine alongside their mineral protocol gives them an extra boost. Berberine works on the same cellular pathways as metformin, but it doesn't replace the foundational role of minerals. Think of berberine as the accelerator and minerals as the fuel. Without both, the system doesn't run smoothly. And here's something many people overlook. Your stress levels and sleep quality affect mineral absorption and insulin function. When you're under stress, your body burns through magnesium faster. When you don't sleep well, your cortisol levels rise, and that can lead to higher fasting blood sugar the next morning. So part of your protocol should also include stress reduction techniques, deep breathing, light stretching, gratitude journaling, or even just turning off screens an hour before bed. It all adds up. Now, what if you're already on type 2 diabetes medications? Can you still use this protocol? Absolutely. But it's essential to monitor your blood sugar closely. You may find that with time, your glucose stabilizes more consistently, and your doctor might even suggest adjusting your medication. Never make changes on your own. Always work with your healthcare provider. Some people with prediabetes use this protocol to prevent progression altogether. Others use it to complement their existing diabetic diet meal plan, improve energy, and feel more in control of their health. And then there are people who've been told, "You'll be diabetic forever." And they prove that wrong. Like Janet, a 61-year-old woman who followed this exact mineral strategy. She was eating well, but her blood sugar was still over 160 every morning. After 3 weeks of using magnesium, chromium, and zinc in the right forms and timing, her fasting glucose dropped to 114. After 6 weeks, her doctor reduced her medication. Or Michael, who had prediabetes for 5 years and felt helpless. He added vanadium and selenium to his meals, started walking after dinner, and focused on low glycemic index foods. Within 2 months, his blood sugar chart looked completely different, and his energy came back. These aren't magic stories. They're real results from real people who took control of the metabolic root causes and gave their body what it needed to heal. So what about you? You've made it this far in the video. You've learned how minerals affect blood sugar regulation, insulin resistance, and the progression of type 2 diabetes. You now know how to choose the right forms, avoid the common traps, and build a protocol that actually works. And if you've been living with diabetes symptoms, fatigue, blurred vision, weight gain, numbness in your feet, frustration with blood sugar test results that won't improve, you now have a real natural path forward. But before we finish, let's pull everything together in one final message. Because what you do next, today, could be the start of a completely different future. I know living with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes can feel overwhelming. You try to do the right things. You change your diet, check your blood sugar levels, follow what the doctors say. But sometimes it still doesn't work. And no one tells you why. The truth is, your body might not be broken. It might just be missing what it needs to function. Essential minerals that are foundational for glucose control, insulin resistance, and your long-term health. You don't need gimmicks. You don't need to chase trends. You just need to support your body in the right way, consistently, intelligently, and with real science behind you. Now that you know how powerful these 5 minerals are, now that you understand how to take them, what forms to choose, what mistakes to avoid, and how to build your own protocol, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Because if you take action today, if you start applying what you've just learned, you could completely change the way your body responds to food, to stress, to life. You could finally stop fearing every meal, every test result, every number on the screen. You could start living again, with energy, freedom, and peace of mind. And if you want a step-by-step plan to support you, thousands of people just like you are already seeing amazing results following the exact same natural approach. You can find out how they're doing it by clicking the link in the description below. If you're serious about reversing insulin resistance, supporting your diabetic diet, and taking control of your health once and for all, you know what to do. And if this video helped you even a little bit, please like it, leave a comment to let me know what you're going through, and subscribe to the channel. We're building a community here, a place for real solutions without fear or shame, and I'd love for you to be part of it.